What does productivity have to do with looking up?
Well, because it's like if you think of looking up as this idea of I am stewarding my life, my relationship with God, it's like my personal walk with Jesus, but that also is like my family. I feel like looking up all falls in that same category, because as part of being a spiritually healthy disciple, you need to steward or manage your life.
Yep.
And so I think in the parable of the sower, it talks about how, busyness and distraction is a main enemy, right? It's a main enemy that chokes out our fruit. And so I think when you have productivity issues or you don't know how to manage yourself, it can really be, at least for me, it can really be an attack from the world, the flesh, and the devil to undermine what God wants to do in you and through you. And so I think it was like last week I came to David and I was like, David, can't handle it.
There's a spider.
It's a spider, and the spider's called busyness. It's got 8 legs of busyness.
I like what you did there. That's good.
And so, I was saying to David how I feel like I have no mental bandwidth. Like I felt like I have a big, cooktop that's just got like 20 different pots all simmering, and I'm supposed to manage them all. And I said, David, I need you to help me. And so why don't you share with me the advice you gave? And then I also talked with Ryan, and he gave me some advice as well. And it was actually pretty similar. So I want to share his when you're done sharing what you said.
So I think people often, look at me as an artist and as a creative. And, it's like typically you're kind of an aloof. You're kind of like,
what did you mean here?
I just go as the wind blows me. But, for 11 years, I've worked as a professional artist and had to conduct myself in a professional way. So, I've developed a pretty good system for staying organized. So I shared that with Bill. And one of the big things that's been kind of a recent thing that I've refined is this idea of creating like a bullet journal. And what a bullet journal is, and if you've ever come to a class with me or have been with me, you'll see I have this little brown notebook, and the little brown notebook has basically my whole life in it. And just to keep it short, it's basically you're writing everything down that you need to do in an organized way, and you have your big things you need to get done. And so whenever something happens, you write it down, and then you plan for your daily tasks. So you know what you're trying to get done this week, or know what you're trying to get done this month. It might be a big project, building a website or starting the podcast. But then daily breaking that into small chunks and saying, what are the 2 big things I want to get done today? What is something that I need mental focus on for 2 hours that I can focus on? And then what are the 5 or 6, subtasks that if I get done, I get done. If I don't, I don't. Mm-hmm. And really, I think the last 20 years, there's been this push for multitasking and being, super highly productive, because you can be texting, you can be emailing, you can be doing all these things at once. And this is the complete opposite. Is like, I'm going to focus on this one thing for 2 hours. I don't want to be interrupted. And then when I'm done, I'll take 10 minutes and check emails or do texts or all that. So just really, I think the big thing would be going from multitasking to singularly tasking. What are the 2 big things? And for me, I try to get those done before lunch, because after lunch, you're kind of tired, but that like 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. to noon time, your brain's still awake and it's still fresh. You're like, I'm going to focus on this, and then leave the afternoon for, maybe writing thank you notes or responding to emails or
right.
doing stuff like that. And so I think that's the big thing for me is writing everything down. So, because what Bill, I think you were struggling with was you had 10 irons in the fire and it was all kind of up in your brain, but writing it down kind of helps you look at the big picture.
Yeah. I think what David shared with me, that exact idea of get it on paper. Don't get it on digital, get it on paper. And so maybe we can get a couple pictures of David's bullet journal or my bullet journal just to show you. But, basically in the beginning, we just blocked out a couple pages for like a table of contents or an index, and then number the pages. And there's a page just for future project ideas with Revolve, and a page for future project ideas with Discovering Discipleship, and a place to make a list of if you have to write a thank you card or if there's a follow-up conversation you have to have, and these kinds of ideas. And so when something comes up, you put it where it needs to be. I remember I read a book by a guy named Tim Challies maybe it was last year, and he said everything has to have a place, and it's the same idea.
Yeah.
It's like you have to have a place where you record it. And so then, it's been where I've been doing it only for a couple days, but I already feel like I know what I have to do today. Yeah. I know that today I got to teach at Innovate Christian Academy. I got to prep for the Cape May County men's meeting tonight. I have the podcast, and I know if these things are like 2-hour chunks, 3.5 hour chunk, 3-hour chunk, then I can squeeze in the little subtasks in between.
Yeah. And now, so the reason we're sharing this with you guys is because 98% of every conversation we have with people when we talk about how are you abiding, how's your quiet time, I'm just so busy.
Yeah.
I'm so busy. So if we could help you to organize the rest of your life, you can have that hour quiet time in the beginning of the day or at your lunchtime, because everything else is going to be organized. You're not hitting the ground running.
Yeah.
And it's like you're going to be way more productive focusing for 2 hours than for that 2-hour task to take 4 hours.
Yes.
And then you don't have time to kick the soccer ball with your kids.